I stuck the syringe into my arm, feeling the cool rush of heroin into my bloodstream. Once again the numbness overcame me, and I fell into a slump on the couch. I could barely move, but I was somehow able to hit the remote that sent me to a cooling wave of Pink Floyd from the cheap stereo system in the corner. I'd become comfortably numb. I've been shooting up since the 10th grade. I'm 20 now, and I found myself living in a very bad part of town with no stable source of income. I have track marks covering my arm, and my facial features have changed drastically since I was in high school. What used to be a perfectly sculpted, charming face is degraded into a thin, pale-skinned shell. I don't have any friends, for they all went on to do bigger and better things. I barely keep in contact with my family. Do I care? Nah. Losing the people I used to love means nothing to me anymore. The only friend I needed was the needle. Heroin's often a tricky drug, in terms of content, and not every batch is the same. I've often read about people experiencing strange phenomena while on heroin. I've read stories of people shooting up way too much, or mixing drugs and experiencing a terrible high, even hallucinating. I've never, in my life, experienced a bad high, and right now was no different. I was above the world. I was on cloud 9. The song sent waves of euphoria at me. Just a little pinprick. I didn't hear the lock being picked, or the door slowly opening, or the metaphorical demon creeping behind me. Suddenly the song cut off and the feeling went away. I instantly became jittery and paranoid.
Can I have a little bit?
I turned around and saw something I'll never forget. It was a very tall, jittery man. He was only skin and bones and was ghostly white. In his left hand, needles protruded out of his fingers like nails. His right hand was busy picking at his skin. A common withdrawal symptom was the feeling of bugs on your skin, but looking closer, I saw that he actually had little black mites crawling in and out of his skin. He had no eyes, and blood was seeping from his eye holes, like tears. He had a creepy and nervous smile. His teeth were broken glass shards, and his gums were also bleeding. The scariest part of the man were the track marks and cuts covering his body, glass shards lodged in his skin like blood-red crystals.
Come on, man. I just need a little bit.
He walked closer, limping. I wasn't sure what to do. Was he even real? I was too terrified to even care. What are you doing in my house? To call it a house was a huge overstatement. Disgusting apartment was more like it. His hands were shaking.
I just need a little bit, man. Please. I need it.
He was begging. I almost felt pity for the thing in front of me, but no. A surge of anger blasted through me. Who the hell did he think he was? Coming into my house, asking to use my heroin. How did even I used heroin? No! Now get out of my house before I grab the gun. There was no gun, and he knew it. It may have just been a panic of my high, but it seemed like the lights dimmed a little. The room became darker, and the thing in front of me seemed to grow larger. His smile grew wider, and he suddenly sprinted at me. I reached for the first thing I saw, a baseball bat from when I played in high school. I used to be pretty good at baseball. Maybe if I didn't shoot up, I could have tried to go pro. I swung at him as hard as I could, and broke the wooden bat over his bald, skeletal head. He didn't even seem to be affected by the blow. He laughed, a sound that reminded me of a man choking on nails. He slashed at me with his right hand, cutting me across the face with claw-like fingernails. The fact that I was high made the man seem even more menacing, and the pain even more severe. He jabbed at me with his left hand. I felt 4 long, cold needles stab into my stomach. I lurched over in pain. I reached up to push him away. My hand got caught on the glass sticking out of his chest. I screamed in pain as glass lodged itself into my hand. Amidst all the pain, I felt bugs crawling on my skin, and when I looked down, I saw my arms were littered with the black mites. I could feel each individual mite burrowing itself into me and crawling out of my pores. There was nothing else I could do. I screamed. I begged. I didn't want to be killed by this horror. Each time I screamed, he only seemed to enjoy it more. I was burning on the inside. The mites covered my arm, and I clawed my skin to try and get rid of him. If only I'd given him what he wanted in the first place. Wait a minute. He grabbed me by the hair and yanked me up. I quickly grabbed the syringe off the floor before he pulled me up to face him.
All I wanted was a little bit,
he said coldly. His smile seemed to stretch across his face. He opened his mouth and quickly brought the glass teeth towards my face. He was going to bite my face off, but I was faster. I jammed the syringe into his neck where his jugular was. I'm not sure what happened next. He screamed. a scream that will haunt my dreams forever. He fell backwards and started clawing the syringe out of his neck. I didn't think it would work, but I'd gone cold turkey before, and shooting up during withdrawals is very risky because overdosing will cause immense pain and a very, very bad high. He was very clearly going through withdrawals. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and repeatedly stabbed the man in the face. He sliced at me with claws and needles, screaming in pain, but I won. He slumped to the ground, covering my floor in blood. But it was okay, because I was alive. The mites all died with him and fell off my skin. After much debate and even more throwing up, I knew what I had to do. I first had to treat the multiple wounds I'd received, but I'd need further hospitalization. I crushed all my syringes and threw my stash down the toilet. Might as well kill 2 demons tonight, I muttered. I need to call the police, but I didn't have a cell phone. I left my apartment to go use the payphone a block away. 911, what's your emergency? Right then all my anxiety from the night before broke away from me and I started having a panic attack. A madman just broke into my apartment. Oh fuck, I don't even think it was a man. He tried to kill me. My address is 2112 Cygnus Drive, apartment 12. Oh Christ, there's blood everywhere. Please hurry. I headed back into the building. When I opened my apartment, my heart skipped a beat. There was no blood. There was no needle man. Everything was exactly as it was before, and I know exactly why. I was sober. It was all a dream or a vivid hallucination of some sort. I looked down at my arms and saw marks from where I tried to claw the imaginary bugs off, but rather than that all my other wounds were gone. I was covered in pointless bandages. Must have been laced, or a bad batch, I muttered. Either way, I'll never use again. I explained to the police that I'd never called them and that it must have been a prank one of my friends had pulled on me. I played it off pretty well, and they eventually left me alone. After they left, I sat down and made a mental list of things I needed to do. Call my mother, find a job, maybe get in contact with some old high school friends. I fell asleep that night with a smile on my face. I was finally myself again. I woke with a start at 3 AM. I felt cold and clammy and my throat was dry. I know I wouldn't be sleeping much in the next few days because of the upcoming withdrawals. The effects were already beginning to come over me, and I knew it would only get worse from here. I was okay. I'm ready to face it. I forced myself out of bed to grab some water from the kitchen, but I didn't hear the door open. I didn't hear the footsteps. I didn't hear the needle man coming up behind me.
You got any more?